This is Valley View News.
Sales of motorcycles are rising, even though motorcycles make up 5% of highway deaths. State budget axe is falling on CSUN swimming team. Jewelry store owners got a scare after their dog ate something worth $20,000.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Alexis Lipnicki.
And I'm Marisa Larcon.
Interest groups have been spending millions on television ads to influence Congress on Obama's health care plan. 40 House Democrats were identified as possible swing votes one way or another on the issue. The campaign to influence them was compared to the intensity of a presidential campaign. Representative James Clyburn of South Carolina worried that Democrats didn't have enough votes to pass the bill, but was confident they could get it done. Republicans focused on the Democrats who are still on the fence about passing the health care bill, keeping track of lawmakers' statements on how they intended to vote. Both opponents and supporters of the bill were urging voters to contact their lawmakers, similar to the tactics in Get Out the Vote campaigns.
The U.S. Preventive Services Task Force says women don't need mammograms as young as previously thought, but that guidance is causing some controversy among doctors. Valley View's Emily Metters reports.
The task force revised guidelines and now recommends women start routine mammogram screening at age 50, not 40. Kaiser Permanente's Southern California medical region leads the nation in breast cancer screening. Radiologist and director of the breast center, Paula Nudell, disagrees with the recommendations.
Very worried about it. I'm very worried what's going to happen in the future.
Despite being the #2 cancer killer of women behind skin cancer, there are no physicians that specialize in only breast disease. Gynecologists provide specialty care to women in their teens and early adulthood, but ovarian cancer affects 1 in 68 women. Physician and gynecologist Andrea Winnick sees benefits of having more specialists for women.
I think that would be of a great benefit because I don't feel that a lot of women know breast self-examinations.
The U.S. Task Force also said that doctors should recommend their patients stop regular breast exams, which has some strong reaction from doctors.
That's absurd. Okay, I can't tell you. I mean, there are so many women whose breast cancers have been found by themselves.
OBGYN department administrator and nurse Joan Henry is a breast cancer survivor herself. She found her own lump 3 months after getting a mammogram and offers her own advice to women.
Know your body. I mean, the important thing is know your body.
Opponents of mammograms say women don't need the necessary radiation, but many doctors agree the pros outweigh the cons.
However, there have been many studies have been performed that show that there really is no risk.
Death rates of breast cancer have been decreasing since the 1990s due to increased prevention. But with the new recommendations, some doctors are worried for an adverse effect.
We will see in the next 10 years probably a dramatic increase in mortality.
Doctors at Kaiser agree self-breast exams and mammograms starting at age 40, unless a woman is at higher risk, are key to prevention.
And regardless of what a physician says, and I've been in the healthcare field for too long, self-breast exam I think is important because you're going to know when something is abnormal.
In Woodland Hills, I'm Emily Metters for Valley View News.
The Obama administration has proposed an overhaul to the No Child Left Behind law. President Obama says the new education bill will set a high bar but give educators flexibility to meet standards.
Under these guidelines, schools that achieve excellence or show real progress will be rewarded, and local districts will be encouraged to commit to change in schools that are clearly letting their students down.
The blueprint supports the expansion of public charter schools and allows states and school districts to decide how they will spend the money.
Toyota investigators are questioning a driver's account of his runaway Prius in San Diego. James Sykes called 911 during an incident when he said the gas pedal in his 2008 Prius was stuck. He said his car was going more than 90 miles per hour on Interstate 8. The car was brought to a stop 20 minutes later with the help of a California Highway Patrol officer. Sykes says the car kept speeding up while he was pressing on the brakes. But when investigators from Toyota tested his car, the gasoline engine shut down rather than accelerated. Officials say safety features on the Prius caused the engine to shut down to protect the system from overload and damage.
It does not appear to be feasibly possible, both electronically and mechanically, that his gas pedal was stuck to the floor and he was slamming on the brake at the same time.
Some Prius models are among the millions of Toyota vehicles recalled for reported acceleration problems.
Motorcycle riders in their 20s have more deadly crashes than any other age group. Inexperience, the need for speed, and lack of training are all factors in these accidents. Valley View's Shiva Gazamzadeh reports from Woodland Hills.
They're loud. They're fast. And they're dangerous. Motorcycle sales have increased 30% since 2001. But with the increase in sales, motorcycle-related deaths have gone up by 50%. Marsha Randolph lost her only child to a motorcycle accident back in January. Brent Robinson was only 21 years old.
There's nothing in the world that can prepare you for this. It's the most inconceivable heartache you could ever feel. You can't even imagine what it feels like. And it happens all day, every second. And it's like your heart is just like being squashed. And it hurts.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reports motorcyclists are roughly 35 times more likely to be killed in an accident over automobile drivers. In 2008, over 5,000 riders and passengers lost their lives, and almost 85% of motorcyclists injured in accidents are men. Maxwell Carey has had 5 surgeries on his right leg due to a motorcycle accident he had with a drunk driver when he was 18.
I come around this turn, and maybe about 15 feet before I even know what it is, a car with no lights on pulls out in the middle of the road, just stops. I barely hit the front corner of his car. I fly, toppling through the air, 70 feet down the street. My mom did not want me to have a motorcycle, not at all. And I kind of just bought into it, and ignored all the bad stuff, and should have listened to my mom.
Randolph says she is making it a goal to promote formal training for young adults.
This is such an important issue. I don't want any other mother to ever get that phone call, to ever experience what I experienced. I'm not against motorcycles. I'm against not having proper training for a motorcycle. I know that should Brent, if he had had any training, he probably, maybe this wouldn't have happened.
To learn more about motorcycle training and safety, log on to www.msf-usa.org. From Woodland Hills, Shiva Gazamzadeh for Valley View News.
The Los Angeles Police Department held a news conference to announce enforcement initiatives regarding pedestrian safety. Valley View's Michelle Mata is in the studio with the story.
The LAPD spoke downtown, cautioning drivers and pedestrians about the potential penalties they will receive for breaking the law while on the road.
Pedestrian injuries and fatalities have increased due to traffic collisions in the city of Los Angeles. 4 of LAPD's traffic divisions joined forces to educate both drivers and pedestrians to be extra cautious when driving or walking across the busy streets of our neighborhoods. LAPD Captain Ronald Mabry says officers are doing what they can to make the streets safer.
On average, a pedestrian was killed every 2 hours in the United States, every 2 hours. And we had a person injured every 8 minutes. We at the LAPD are committed to improving those statistics. We don't want people getting injured. We don't want people getting hurt. And we're here to enforce the law to ensure that people remain safe.
A plainclothes officer crossed the street to ensure motorists yield the right way to pedestrians. Drivers who failed to yield to pedestrians were cited. Andrea Solano has more.
LAPD officers have been out here at the intersection of Olympic and Bonnie Brae since 7 o'clock this morning. 69 citations were written in the first 2 hours for failure to yield to pedestrians. LAPD Detective William Bustos says drivers need to be just as aware as those crossing.
In the state of California, it is a privilege to have a driver license. It's not their right. They have to take that responsibility seriously. When they're driving, they should be cautious, reduce their speed, and look for pedestrians or something that might come up that it's unexpected.
Pedestrian Patrick Hirsch says he disagrees with the police demonstration.
The cops are always out and people get pulled over all the time and it really doesn't change anything. So I think, making an example of people today is just going to, hurt people today, but it's really not going to change anything in the long run.
In downtown Los Angeles, for Michelle Mata, I'm Andrea Solano for Valley View News.